Have you felt that desire in your heart to go out and date again, but then maybe a little voice in your head says, but what if the same shit happens? What if I'm in a toxic relationship again? What if there's drama again? What if? And if that's you right now, you've been single, you've taken the time to heal, and you're starting to feel open to dating, you're starting to feel open to love again, then this episode is for you. Welcome to Worthy of Love, the podcast for ambitious, self-aware women who desire to deeply connect to healthy love. Whether you're single or in a relationship already, this show is here to help you slow down, reconnect with your body, and to help you realize that you are capable and worthy of cultivating and maintaining healthy love, even if you have a history of toxic relationships. I am your host, Celia Antonio. I'm a certified relationship coach and a certified female sexuality coach, and I am so grateful that you are here. Now let's get into the show. Last week, we talked about certain behaviors that contribute to toxic relationships because it takes two people to be toxic. If you have not already gone and listened to that, I would recommend listening to that first so that you can have that self-awareness of things to look out for as you go back into dating. And then in today's episode, I'm going to be sharing two powerful shifts that will help you step back to dating in a way that feels safe, in a way that feels aligned, and in a way where you feel liberated and you are in your own power. And these are not going to be the usual, like I remember when I went through my last breakup before I started dating my now husband, the advice that I heard a lot was to write a list of all of the qualities that you want in your partner. That's not what I'm going to be saying today. Instead, we're going to root this conversation today in self-love, in worthiness, and in conscious choice so that every step that you take as you go into dating is you choosing yourself again and again. So let's dive in. Welcome to Worthy of Love, the podcast to help you show up, speak out, and be seen in healthy love. My name is Celia. I am a certified female sexuality coach, certified relationship coach, and I have coached over 80 women at the time of this recording through this exact stage of when they have taken the time to be single, they have reflected on their past, they have that self-awareness, they've developed that mindfulness, that body connection, and they feel like they've left behind unhealthy relationships, left behind toxic relationships, and now they're feeling that gentle nudge to open up their heart again. And this stage can feel very exciting, but also terrifying. And it's exciting because your heart wants to open up again. It's also terrifying because you know what you don't want, and you don't want that drama to happen again. You already know what betrayal feels like. You know what gaslighting feels like. You know what constant drama feels like. And you never want to go back there again. So, yeah, I feel you. I have been where you are, and this is why I do the work that I do. I think it's very incredible that we can go from such dramatic dating and such a place of like thinking that the relationship we want is this like pie in the sky dream to love that feels so aligned and that feels easy. A lot of people say relationships are hard, but I think the right relationship should be easy, but not in a way where discomfort never shows up. Like, yes, discomfort's going to come up. You have to have those difficult conversations sometimes. But because you're with the right person, there's a sense of ease in bringing forward what it is that you're feeling. There's a sense of ease in knowing how to reconcile after a disagreement. So, yeah, stepping back into dating after toxic love is not about finding the perfect person that checks your boxes. It is about embodying the sense of self-worth that makes you incapable of settling for anything less than you deserve. And that's why today's tips are less about what kind of person you want and them. For a lot of people with histories of toxic relationships, there can be this tendency of labeling everyone that we've dated in the past as like they were the problem and only they were the problem. And I want to invite you to see if you can see how you contributed to that toxic dynamic, which is why last week I talked about 6 different habits that we might be doing in relationships that are contributing to toxic relationships. And these habits aren't normally things that I think people label as something toxic to do. Usually, when we think of toxic relationships and a person being toxic, we think of someone who is like super possessive or like stalking or starting fights or like the obvious like cheating and stuff like that. But all of the behaviors I talked about last week, I feel like don't seem that obvious as things that contribute to toxic relationships. Ending the cycle of toxic relationships is not just about dating a different kind of person or dating the quote unquote perfect person that checks all your boxes. It is also about you yourself becoming that person that's on someone else's list. It's about you yourself also upgrading because it does take two to be toxic. And if you've been in a toxic relationship in the past, there were certain behaviors that you did. And that's what last week's episode was about. So again, if you haven't listened to that, go ahead and go listen to that. Shifts that will make dating feel less like walking into a battlefield and will make dating feel more like you stepping into finding that space where you belong and you finding those people that make you feel like you deeply belong. And so the first one is to date from the perspective of self-love. And what do I mean by this? When you date from the perspective of self-love, I invite you to make every decision, to filter every decision through the lens of self-love, through the lens of, if I say yes to this, am I choosing self-love? If I say no to this, am I choosing self-love? Most of us are conditioned to approach dating from this place of scarcity. We worry about, will this person like you? Will they like me? Will they pick me? Am I good enough for them? But instead, when you come into dating from this perspective of self-love, you like you pick you are enough for you. You are kind of filling those needs for yourself. And that helps you have more confidence when you go out into dating. And that stops putting this energy of like putting all of the responsibility of you feeling whole onto another person when you can fill that void yourself. And yeah, the energy of thinking like, will they like me? Am I enough for them? It puts all of the power into their hands. And that's exactly how we end up in relationships that are full of drama and relationships that drain us because we are choosing from a place of fear and not love. But dating from the perspective of self-love is about flipping that script. It's about asking, instead of asking if you are being chosen, ask, do I choose this person? Do I like this person? Do I feel safe, seen, and celebrated around this person? Do I like more of myself when I am with them? Like really taking that time to make space for yourself. I feel like for a lot of ambitious women with a history of toxic relationships, The overlining thread of what contributes to toxic relationships is not making space for ourselves because we are afraid of sharing our authentic truth. We are afraid of sharing our true self because we think that if we share our true self, we will be rejected. And that is not true. If you enjoyed this clip and you want to see the entire video episode, there's a link below to join the Podcast Insiders newsletter. And on there, you will get access to all of the full video episodes. Otherwise, you can listen to the full audio over on Apple, Spotify, and anywhere that you enjoy listening to podcasts. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope that you subscribe, follow, and come back for more.